really smart guy and relentless. And people are starting to go to him now and say, I've got documents. And he is posting them online. And what he posted yesterday should chill all of us to the bone. Christopher, welcome to the program. How are you?
Very well. Good to be with you.
So tell me what you dumped yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was a big day because, as many of your listeners know, the president passed this executive order abolishing critical race theory trainings from all federal agencies. But unfortunately, the CDC, operating in direct violation of this order, announced to their employees that they were moving forward with a very kind of inflammatory critical race theory training that spanned 13 weeks. I was able to obtain documents from inside the CDC, as well as a external PowerPoint that gives more content of the presentation. The content was truly horrific. It's talking about trying to destroy the system of meritocracy, trying to destroy the idea of American exceptionalism, and trying to weaponize the CDC to fight white supremacy. But even more horrifically is that this was a direct violation. And actually, Glenn, this is breaking news. I heard actually 2 minutes ago, the director of OMB, Russ Vought, just announced on Twitter, he retweeted me with a message saying that these things have been canceled, suspended indefinitely. And, you know, I imagine the White House was pretty upset, but this is actually a victory. The CDC has now been kind of beaten back from its plan of continuing critical race theory training.
So the bad thing here is that the response from the CDC was, hey, look, we have to do this because this is a health crisis. You know, racism in America is a health crisis, and it's getting people killed in the streets. And so they just decided on their own. I will believe that something is actually being done when people start to clean house. I mean, did you get was your source, can you even say, inside the system?
Yes, my source was inside the CDC, so I had direct access to the internal emails that were, circulating about this training. So
did you talk?
I agree. I think this is a good first step to cancel this training, but there's really two problems. One is that there has to be some more severe consequences. I know that if you were in a private company and you directly violated the CEO's order on something in a big way like this, you would be out the door within a couple hours. I think the same standard should be held here. But also, I'm just one person with one set of sources. How many other agencies across the federal government are violating the president's order? I've had some unconfirmed reports that I'm working on now that it's happening in multiple agencies, including Customs and Border Patrol.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm working on this, today and tomorrow to confirm. But my sense is that it's the tip of the iceberg. That actually there are probably hundreds of these trainings continuing to happen in direct opposition to a presidential order, which raises the question: what's the point of having a president if he doesn't have control over his own administration?
So this is the deep state. This is what is meant by the deep state. Unelected officials that think they know better than the duly elected officials that they are supposed to work for. They believe, presidents come and go, congressmen, senators, they come and go. We don't have to do what they say. Just keep it quiet. Just keep moving forward. And they don't follow the directive of the duly elected officials. We do live in a fascistic state, if that is true. Everything they say they're fighting, well, we got to fight fascism. We got to fight with these police officers. Everything that you're saying you're fighting, you're doing if you are part of the administration or the government and you are defying the orders of the president. And help me out on this, Christopher. I said a while ago that this is akin to when Barack Obama said the just war theory has to be taken out of the teachings, and we have to shut down the classes of the just war theory at West Point. I was wildly against that. Just war theory is what has stopped us from becoming the Nazis. I think it should be reinstated. But if the Pentagon would have said, sorry, Mr. President, we're going to teach it anyway, I would have been on the side of the president. You can't do that. Otherwise, you don't have a presidency. You don't have a system of government. You have unelected people doing what they want.
And unfortunately, I think that that's exactly what we have. I think that there is a kind of permanent administrative state that operates on its own ideology that really never changes depending on who's in office. And unfortunately, for those of us on the right, their ideology is kind of technocratic in nature, is progressive in nature, is kind of scientific in nature. It very much dovetails nicely with a progressive administration. So I think what happens is that we may score these tactical victories like shutting down a training session, shutting down many training sessions, but the problem of the permanent bureaucracy remains. How do we make politics meaningful if the largest organ of our politics, the federal government, which has more than 1 million employees, if the president, who's duly elected under a constitutional system, cannot control the bureaucracy? And in the past, they had a spoils system, which had its problems. But one advantage of that is that the bureaucracy was political. The bureaucracy is no longer political. It operates independently of our political forces. And I think that is a true constitutional problem that we'll have to grapple with for the years to come.
Well, this is something that the Obama administration and something 2.0, Society 2.0, with Clinton and Soros that they had developed. This is what they developed, and a system that operates on its own no matter who. That's why the president was targeted with Ukraine. That's why they made that such a big deal. That's a hill to die on, and that's why I keep saying if the president doesn't do something about that, if charges aren't brought up and real people fired because of what happened, nothing's going to change. If he just says, you're stopping these, and he doesn't fire the head of the CDC, if he doesn't fire all of the people that were involved in this is a cancer, and it's going to continue to spread.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think that it's important that there be some sort of repercussion, because if the only consequence is that the training gets canceled,
no big deal.
Any other agency around the government will say, well, we can go forward with it. What's the worst that could happen? We'll get our training canceled. But I think the attitude would be quite different if all of a sudden you have kind of civil service members losing their jobs immediately. You raise the stakes. You create a disincentive to continue with this, because an executive order is only as good as much as you can enforce it. So I'm hoping that this first step that was just announced by OMB Director Vaught is only a first step, and I'll be advocating for some more severe consequences.
So will we. And if you're exactly right, if they don't, it's deep trouble. If they do, you will empower the whistleblowers as well. Because whistleblowers are right now sitting there watching and saying, I've got something that everybody should know. But if I blow the whistle and the top people don't get fired, then I'm screwed. I mean, they'll just screw with me. They'll go on a hunt to find out who it was. It will empower whistleblowers if they see justice being done. And I commend you, Chris. I think what you're doing is just tremendous. Just tremendous. Thank you.